Story 1. AITA for moving into a studio apartment away from my mother-in-law who moved in. My boyfriend's mom is poor and had to move into my boyfriend and I's apartment last month because my boyfriend's brother, who lived with her, got them both evicted. He stole her car and wrecked it into their apartment and almost killed someone. He's currently in rehab, and before she moved in, I sat down with my boyfriend and laid out the requirements of her living here. She must cut off contact with his brother for his own good and never invite him over, as I'm afraid of him retaliating at our apartment and getting us evicted too, and she should stop enabling him with a constant safety net to continue his drug use. I know that sounds harsh, but it was the only way to actually force him to get help. This has been an almost decade-long battle of her enabling him and his not getting any better. My boyfriend agreed to this and she agreed. Cut to 2 weeks in, I come home from work. My boyfriend and her are laughing about how they took his brother to Golden Corral when I was gone and he was so high he was nodding off in the food. I was so upset that not only did she break the cardinal rule that I set for her, but that my boyfriend went along with it and did it too. I told him I felt betrayed and that he just set a precedent to her that she can do whatever she wants now because any rule set isn't actually going to be enforced, clearly by his example. He told me he did it because he thought it was too harsh after the fact without telling me he had changed his mind, and thereby going against our agreement. I otherwise wouldn't have let her live here rent-free. My boyfriend said putting her on the street was too harsh of a punishment for breaking the rules, but isn't that the point? Now she's telling us we need to do her chores when we pay the rent, because she doesn't want to do them, knowing he won't enforce or kick her out because he ultimately can't face the guilt of doing so. He has attachment issues with her and a heavy guilt complex. Our apartment lease is up in a couple months, and now that we're moving, she asked us, so where are we moving to? Fully expecting a free ride and free rent at our next place. I was so dumbfounded because she is only supposed to be here until she got housing, but low-income housing waiting lists can be months to years long. I don't want to live with her anymore because she walks all over us and causes tension between my boyfriend and I. He will never put her on the street because he's controlled by his guilt. When I asked what he plans to do, he said he isn't taking her to our next place, but that would ultimately leave her on the street, and I know deep down even if we initially move without her, she will be back in a week or two because he'll feel guilty. I want to move into a studio apartment now, knowing that I don't believe he's going to let her go, and I've voiced this as a real possibility to him, but I'm being framed as trying to dismantle our relationship. Story 2. AITA for refusing to let an elderly woman abuse me and my family. I'm a 49F with epilepsy, stress and heat-induced seizures. My family and I helped an elderly friend, 65F, clean out and pack up her house to move cross-country. We also ran errands, cooked and cleaned, and did whatever else she needed, including personal hygiene. I drove her and the family the entire way back. She was sweet to us at first, but soon after we started working for her, she began throwing temper tantrums about every little thing. Fast food orders that were wrong, restaurant's fault. Sugar jar wasn't where she left it. 4 days of screaming over French fries that she didn't remember ordering. She hollered at the top of her lungs, resorted to personal slurs and verbal abuse, and even rammed her walker into my leg several times. Every time, she'd be all sweetness and apologies again once she wanted something. She plays the helpless old lady card around others and becomes a screaming tyrant again when they're gone. Now she's living at the same place we are, and the abuse has not stopped. I finally refused to help her anymore. I see her struggling to fend for herself or get help from others, and my refusal to help has only made her more furious. I can't even walk into the same room without her aggressively nitpicking a fresh fight. I don't shout back or try to reason with her. I just leave again. But she's able to chase me out of every room by following. I can't stay in the house with the AC that keeps my heat seizures under control. I have to go outside in 115-degree heat in the Arizona desert. I've already had many near-seizure episodes at her house, on the road trip and back here at home. Some other people have focused on how helpless she is and think I'm being unreasonable for setting the boundary. Story 3. AITA for upsetting my pregnant co-worker because I told her she needs to do better. Okay, so a bit of context. I, 24F, work as a chef in a small cafe. One of the girls out in front of house comes to me and confides in me a lot. I consider us friends. However, she goes into crazy detail about her personal life, how people treat her and how she treats people. I've been working there nearly 2 years and it's ranged from her boyfriend, his son, and other things. Her now fiancé has a son, who he had from a previous relationship. Let's call my co-worker Linda for ease. Linda knew this before getting in a relationship with him. A lot of their arguments stem from this. Recently she has started telling me about how she gives out and has no patience for his little boy. He's 6, he is a child. She doesn't physically abuse him, but I think she is emotionally abusing him based on what she told me. The most recent vent of hers that resulted in me being quite blunt with her. Apparently she had left the room for about 30 minutes and left her pizza on the bed. Her fiancé's little boy went in and started to play Xbox, got hungry and ate the pizza. Linda came back and sees red, immediately starts screaming at him. Then she gets really nasty and tells him that every time he's here he's a fucking issue and she just can't get enough space from him. I don't know everything that was said, but she always talks about how she doesn't want him in the room a lot of the time despite that he only visits on weekends. I snapped. I told her she needs to grow the fuck up and do better. I told her she knew he had a child and chose to get in a relationship with him. That it's not the child's fault that you disagree with your fiancé's previous choices. The kid's mother isn't nice either, so he has it hard enough there too. I told her she has an opportunity to not only be a great mother but also a great stepmother to that child. What will happen when you birth your baby if you're already treating him like this? Said she doesn't get to scream and shout at an innocent child because she can't handle her emotions and no matter how bad she feels about it she deserves it and needs to feel it. I have no sympathy for her. She comes in saying this, that and the other about how bad she feels after doing it. But keeps doing it. She's been giving me the silent treatment for like 2 days. I understand I may have overstepped, but she shouldn't have asked for my opinion then. Story 4. AITA for telling my dad I felt excluded after his girlfriend didn't include me in dinner. 26F, have been staying at my dad's place for a bit while I look for a new apartment. He lives with his girlfriend, 36F, and her daughter, 13F. It's been okay lately, however, honestly kind of awkward. I try to stay out of the way, keep to myself, I always clean up after myself, etc. I've never been super close with his girlfriend, but I always been polite. The other night, my dad mentioned they were going out to dinner and said I should go with them. He said it might be nice for us all to spend a little time together and get out of the house. I agreed, thinking it'd be chill and maybe a good chance to ease some of the weirdness. He wasn't coming, he had some work stuff, but I figured as the one suggesting it, I was genuinely welcome. We got there and my father's girlfriend told the host, "Table for 2," and then turned to me and said something like, "Oh, I thought you were just tagging along. This is a little celebration just for her." I was kind of stunned. I didn't want to make a scene so I just said, "Oh okay," and walked off. I ended up getting takeout nearby and Ubering home. When I got back my dad asked how dinner was and I just said, apparently I wasn't invited after all. Now his girlfriend is saying I overreacted and made her look bad, and my dad's stuck in the middle. Her daughter also gave me a weird look when they got back, like I had ruined the night or something. I don't think I'm entitled to a free meal or anything, but I was told I was invited. It just felt really crappy to be treated like an afterthought. AITA. Update. I forgot to mention that next to the restaurant we went, there is a place that I usually meet with my friends and my father's GF knows about it because she took me a couple of times. So maybe she thought I'm headed that way. Story 5. For telling my girlfriend I didn't want her to adopt her ex's 3-legged dog and that I might not move in with her because of it. My, early 30s M, girlfriend, early 30s F, just adopted her ex-boyfriend's 3-legged dog. They broke up over 5 years ago, never lived together, and she only knew the dog as a puppy. The dog wasn't going to the pound. Her ex and his current girlfriend said they could figure out how to keep it if no one else wanted it. We are supposed to move in together in 3 weeks. She already has a dog, a cat, and a fish tank. I have 2 kids and a cat. Our cats don't get along. On top of that, she actually suggested rehoming my cat to make this work before she adopted this dog, which felt pretty unfair at the time. When she first brought it up, I said I really didn't think it was a good idea. I told her no, and I was firm about it. I eventually gave in and told her that if she really felt like she had to, I wouldn't stop her, but I still felt strongly against it. She also asked her sister and best friend. Her best friend said it was a bad idea, and her sister said to at least wait until we moved in together. Despite this, she went and adopted the dog anyway. I now have told her that I might not move in because I don't think she respects how this affects me, my kids, or the pets we already have. She says I'm being cold and heartless, and that it's just a dog who needs a home. I feel like I was overruled and ignored, and this is a huge decision right before combining our lives and families. AA for telling her I don't want to move in with her because she adopted the dog anyway. I feel like I might be the asshole because maybe I should just be more understanding and flexible, but I genuinely feel like this was the wrong time and the wrong way to handle this. Story 6. AITA if I stop planning holidays with my husband's family. Backstory. I've, 30F, been with my husband, 31M, for 10 years and always had a fine relationship with his family. They're generally nice to me but a bit standoffish. I think that's just their vibe. Since my husband and I got married 5 years ago, I've made an effort to help plan things with his family like I do with mine. Every time it's one of his parents' birthdays, I reach out a week or two before to both of his parents and his siblings to plan a dinner or having them at our house to celebrate. Even for my husband's grandma's and grandpa's birthdays will I do this, plus Mother's and Father's Day. Here is the breaking point. This past weekend for Father's Day, my husband was unavailable in the afternoon, and so I reached out to my Fel and Emil and let them know that we would be able to something at night or in the morning before or after my husband's appointment. They all said to just let them know. I was busy that week and told my husband it was his responsibility to figure out what we were doing for Father's Day with his family. Sunday came along and my husband called his dad in the morning and asked what he was up to, and he said that my Belle and Ciel were at the house having breakfast with him. They had not reached out to my husband and I, not even a text to invite us as well. And this isn't the first time. In November, for my Phil's birthday, my Mael reached out the day before and mentioned that they have had plans for weeks to go to lunch with my Belle and Sil, and since we asked about their plans we could just come with them. At this point, I am feeling petty and told my husband that I'm no longer planning NY events for his family. If they are going to do stuff and not invite us, then I'm not going to stretch myself thin to put in effort for these people. Especially when my SIL gets a gushing FB post every year for her birthday and I don't even get a text for mine. My brother told me he agrees with me but that it is kind of an asshole move. Do we agree with this?